Hello, everybody. I'm so excited today because we are going to talk about client experience, sales, account management with Aaron Smith from Correct Solution. Thanks for joining me, and I'm really excited. Aaron, the story here is that what I kind of feel that people are really losing clients. They can't get new clients for a secret reason. And the reason is the lack of digital maturity on the processes. So give us some background of yours and how you get to this realization of that sales account management is related to really client experience, which you can deliver through digital technologies.
We went through a period where we lost a handful of clients, and as we drilled into why that was the case, we started to understand that the engagement was centered around the account manager rather than the client itself. And as we dug further into that, we realized that the more we could systemize that process and build out a process beyond just the account manager, the engagement piece improved. And we ultimately came to the point that the engagement with your clients is a company responsibility, not an account management responsibility.
So basically what you're saying is that the problem behind losing the clients was like a disassembled kind of process, or like a siloed thing, and how you try to solve that problem when you realize that?
So as we understood it, the change in account manager was the first sort of trigger. Either clients would immediately start looking elsewhere, reviewing their options, and we realized that if only one person held that relationship, every single time an account manager or salesperson changed, there's no relationship held there beyond that one person. And so for us, it was that, and bringing a process into play that added more people into the mix, that added a service touch, an executive touch beyond just the account manager. And it also was systemizing that process so that account managers couldn't just get away with ignoring the companies who weren't wanting to talk to them. Okay. and only talking to the ones who had opportunities. And that was key for us.
And after you made these changes, you're going to talk about 6 different reasons and a little bit solutions about how to solve those. Like, what was the outcome? What did you feel, or what the organization felt after applying those principles?
So as we broadened out the touch and we set a process around the account management piece, we found that we actually had a far deeper engagement with our clients, simply by sitting down with them and talking about what their business is up to and what they're going on about as part of the process, and kind of guiding that conversation that the account managers were having. We found out information that we had not uncovered in the past. It was new information to us. We found out about things beyond just our sort of localized remit around technology services.
So it's awesome, and I gone through your reasons, and the first reason you are mentioning is there is no time, and that's like it's really like everything gets faster and faster. Like, account managers are getting more clients, quotas, whatever. But how you feel this affect how digital transformation or digital technology can actually accelerate the productivity to do more with less? So how we can overcome this problem that, salespeople and account managers do not have more time?
We effectively prioritized our customers based on a number of different factors. And as we did that, we set systems in play to ensure that no one was left behind. And so we set a minimum expectation based on the time that was available per account manager. We made sure that no one had too many accounts with too higher expectations, and made sure there was a balance to that, and put, I guess, a scoring process or an engagement process around the frequency at which we touched and spoke to and had operational meetings, strategic meetings, planning meetings with each of those respective clients, and then made sure that we had enough account managers to ensure that relationship was maintained and then also ensured that we added in touch points for executives, being myself as sales and marketing manager, our service manager, our managing director, our operations and finance manager. Everyone is ultimately responsible for that non-account management touch. And so we built that structured piece there, and we actually use gauges to actually manage that time. And they sit on a dashboard that everyone can see, and we follow that so that we ensure that no one gets left behind.
Okay, so let me translate that a little bit for my basic understanding of things. So basically, the problem wasn't really no time. It was no priority, and there was no structure behind account management. What it meant, how many touch points you supposed to have, who is the big client, needs frequent touch points, who is the client doesn't have that much touch point, and then you basically created a digital system which basically helps you and the team is to get visibility on these priorities, right?
Correct. The time piece, as we talk about no time, is it comes back to the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Yeah.
And from a squeaky wheel gets the grease perspective, the noisy customer's got more time.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
And
that's
so,
like the low quality, the demanding clients, and yeah, you're right, Aaron. Like you're running our operation like account managers always. Like I'm always busy, because they have emails flooded and they start like projects here, proposals there, and everything is on the air. And lack of structure, actually, it's really a good point. And anything else to talk about this section, the time, because I'm really interested on the second one.
The time piece was I guess the initial trigger for us. Was account managers kept coming back complaining that I've got no time to look after the rest of them, and I knew that wasn't quite right.
All right, so I see your second point here, or second reason to fix is the lack of knowledge. Lack of knowledge about what?
So part of what we had to bring in was a systematic process by which we could educate people, by which we could educate our customers. And so be it how to run an appropriate strategic meeting, how to run an appropriate operational meeting. And we actually have structures for each of those meetings that are loose guidelines that enable the things that you actually have to talk about to be talked about with those clients, and also enable key decisions to be made. I think if for those of us, there's a number of different methodologies, and I don't mind which your business happens to follow, but from a pure structural standpoint, being able to walk into your organizations and know the type of conversation you're going to have with them, and know that these are the things that we're working on. Unless there's something in here we need to actually discuss, that I'm going to leave them there. I'm assuming you can read. The next part there enables us to have key decisions and discussions around that. So the lack of knowledge piece was making sure that our people understood the difference between a strategic conversation and a tactical conversation, and also allowed us to build in growth plans for them, so that as they went through, we now have an onboarding process where we educate our people on the whole that we understand of our clients, of our business, of what we can offer and the value we can offer to our customers. And we then have an ongoing monthly training program where and a process whereby either people can shadow others while they're out and about with clients. So as you are a new account manager, or you are a technical person wanting to go and get more information, having a structured program for personal development enabled that knowledge gap to be filled, even if you are brand new to our business, in as short a time possible.
It's really interesting, because what I'm reading here is that basically what you create internal the organization is some sort of shared knowledge about the client perspective, the client strategy, the client tactical problems, the client personal, issues, or the different type of thing. And that's basically, if you share this information among the team, now everybody can relate to that, because if prior the account manager had it in our head, that was like a siloed information, and like the service manager or The sales manager didn't know actually what was going on. What was the client perspective? It's really like it's honestly, this is like common sense kind of thing, but it's really not common practice, right? And basically, it's like these kind of systems now, really the CRMs are really good for tracking those things. And if you have the adoption with the team, then actually it's like it's a wealth of knowledge. Like you can make decisions fairly quickly about those. I really love that because again, like it's I'm not saying account management 101, but it's so hard. It's so hard to make it right or do it right. So the third reason you are telling here is that no clear expectations on deliverables. And I'm as a leader of the company, I'm really guilty on that. I know that. So it's going to be hurting me what you're going to say, I guess.
I've walked into not many a job, but jobs in the past where you're presented with a desk, you're presented with a phone, you're presented with a computer, and you are told to go. And at that point, you figure it out or you don't, depending on what you need to do, how you need to do it. And one of the bits that I did in prior roles was I sat down and built my own structure. But at no point in time was I ever educated, I guess, on this is the best way to get the best out of your clients. This is the best way to engage with your clients. And that's one of the key things that I have set as a structure here at Correct, is that expectation around how you engage with clients, the type of notes we want to be taking, the type of conversations we want to be having, how often you need to speak to them. What is your playbook's probably a good word to use, but how do you have an intelligent conversation that stops you just being viewed as an account manager? Because ultimately, account management is about sales. The job of an account manager is to grow the revenue of the organization. The challenge here is that if you come across as a salesperson, you get treated as one. And so we attempt to put a clear expectation on deliverable that's focused on service, not focused on sales. Because if you service the customer right, you understand their business problems, what you can then present are solutions, not sales opportunities.
It's really interesting because I was thinking about like account management. What type of companies are actually need account management? And it's really interesting that if you have like a certain client, a service side, which pretty much like $1,000, $1,500 per month, recurring revenue type of thing, then you need to have some sort of account management. But many times as along those lines, those are not account managers are doing that. Like a professional service firm, it might be or CPA firm, it might be the accountant is doing the account management part, or the coach, or the architect, the main project manager. These account managers are secretly account managers, like shadow account managers, right? Because they are not having this title. And what you are saying is really, really good, because now everybody can wrap their head around that, wow, I actually need this type of thing because I'm acting as account manager, even nobody calls me account manager. And what you are saying about service is totally true. These guys are actually doing their service. They are delivering the service and being some sort of contact person and account manager. So having some sort of expectations with it, that's perfect. I didn't think about that. What do you think what is the problem if you don't have these clear expectations or deliverables defined, either for an account manager, either for somebody who is not holding this role?
So I'm going to ask a question to answer the question. If I put an account manager into a role with no clear expectations other than a client list, what are they going to do? They're likely going to walk into that client and go, "Hi, I'm Joe. I'm here to talk to you about widgets.
I'm your new contact person."
and at that point in time, is there really a value conversation going on for that client? Or are they just going to go, oh, you're just another salesperson. Thanks for playing. I'll come at you when I need you. And you've lost your engagement almost immediately.
Oh, Aaron, like, I had a thought I share with you just for confirmation that I do believe what people make as a mistake on account management is they have a false belief that having a meeting, being there, caring, having a conversation is actually value. Many times it's not value because it costs time, and time is really, really important. So if you're not able to give them return on investment, return back on their time and give any value as an account manager, next time when you call them, probably they're going to have, oh, I'm busy, and you lost them. And that's what you are basically saying, that how you, because many times it's just like, hey, I have a meeting with you at like, that's a value that actually we care and but probably from a customer perspective is not the value.
And this is the piece. Customers cancel meetings when there's no value for them. If you're struggling to get in front of, and I have a requirement that for all of our customers that are on service agreements, there's at least a quarterly engagement there. Some of them don't need more frequently, others do. But at least quarterly, I want to be sitting in front of you and having a conversation. And the challenge here is that if you're not having the right conversation that's adding value for the customer, the meeting will be cancelled.
Yeah.
Because they don't see value in that conversation.
That's true. But if you're a CPA firm, if you're a professional service, if you are like a wholesaler, if you have your key accounts, like you probably need to figure out what is the theme you are able to come up every quarter to give them some sort of value. So, but that leads to the next reason, is the fourth reason, which I really do like you bring up the table, is that create strategic governance, create strategic planning on top of your normal engagement to actually have the themes and the value to go back, like how this is working. Because I think it's like we are a strategic partner kind of thing. It's just kind of BS. But how to actually fill the gap, or how to make it meaningful?
So we have an annual planning. So we actually have a couple of annual planning structures which enable us to get out of that implementation layer conversation. We are a service business. We are full of technicians and project technicians who just love going into the detail, which when you're operating is great. But at a business level, stepping out of that level and up into that direction and planning sort of layer where you can actually have an intelligent conversation with the business around where they're going, what their challenges are, where their issues are, that may have absolutely nothing to do with what we do at all, gives us a greater understanding of where we can assist and we can help focus our time and attention with those organizations. Those strategic planning pieces give us the ability to focus our time and efforts on the bits that are actually going to move the needle for that organization and actually improve what they do. Because to be frank, if you're not going through that annual planning process, you're not uncovering what the actual real problems are that talk at a governance, security, risk, and that sort of level, we're flying blind. And while I might be having operational conversations, again, come back to the value. If I know what the overall project plan is, and I know where we're trying to take the business, and we know what we're focusing on, I can then chunk that down to the next quarter, and we can keep repeating the value proposition and what we're working towards, and we can plan more effectively around what's the next 90 days look like for where we can focus on for you guys and where we can focus on moving things forward, be they projects, be they assistance, be they whatever it might be.
It's interesting because like I can put myself into like wholesale company shoes who have retailers, and retailers like bicycle shops, like I'm a bicycle brand, whatever, and I need to keep those people entertained. Now I can create every year a purchase plan. and the complete purchase plan, and then every quarter get through what was working, what was not working, give them the reports, what we see is being sold, which is not being sold, how I can help you on that inventory. So it's really interesting. What you are saying is that each and every type of engagement, like again, CPA firms can run their quarterly numbers and show the people, okay, that was your P&L, this is your balance sheet, this is what we see. Like, again, this is like super high level stuff. And if you're not able to, I feel if you are not able to give this type of high level conversation, like a strategic plan, there is no platform for you to have these quarterly meetings, for instance, or giving them like a weekly report or sending them some other stuff, because there is no context. So I think it's really a really interesting perspective, and I think that's leading to this fifth thing. We are digital maturity group. You guys are digital advisors, and everything fall back after, because it was really interesting. The first four items, nothing to do with technology in that sense. But everything will go into some sort of CRM opportunity or some sort of system which is going to make you productive and give the client a better experience. So can you just help me to understand a little bit what internal facing systems you might use to make it more productive, and what type of external systems you use with the client for better experience, like productivity and experience with digital transformation? So how we can imagine that?
One of the biggest challenges, and I find it entertaining when salespeople come at me, or sales managers, or whatever position you are at, I really don't mind. But the frequency of people coming back and going, my CRM is broken, or the CRM is the problem, is fascinating. Because I would argue that the fact that you have a CRM is a positive, not a negative.
Yes.
How you engage with that CRM and what you choose to use it for is the differential. So the fact that there is a CRM, to be honest, is don't try and change the platform for the sake of finding something that may not be required. See if you can get your current system working, because I'll guarantee you, as an account manager, as a salesperson, the focus shouldn't be on the CRM. The focus should be on the outputs of the CRM, being, how do we track our opportunities? How do I track my activities? How do I track the meetings, the time that was taken against those? How do I communicate with my clients? For us, we have a CRM in place. It manages pretty much everything for our organization. We have service tickets in there. We have finance in there. We have sales in there. We have opportunity management in there. Everything's in the one place. But we then use OneNote. And OneNote is our meeting management, note-taking that we can share. And we've built ways in which we can share that collaboratively with our clients to ensure that, A, they get real-time notes. They can engage with that OneNote as well and put their own notes in. And then those operational meetings become a lot more effective. We can also send copies of the notes straight out of OneNote. We can reference those back into the CRM as we close out activities as being had. The CRM piece for me enables me to manage the effectiveness of my staff, because the activities they are completing get ticked off as completed. We can track time against those activities, which enables me to check and manage the productivity and profitability of the clients that we work with. The amount of times I have come across clients, and we were talking about this last week, was what you believe is your best client. I will guarantee you, if you go and work out the amount of time you spend on that client, the amount of time you spend managing that relationship, account managing that relationship, servicing that relationship, administrating that relationship, I'd ask the question, are they truly your best client, or are they simply your most busiest or noisiest?
Or
they might be a $1 million client, but if they're costing you $1.5 million to deliver the service to them, are they really your best client? Our CRM enables us to gather that information, take that information, and then put actionable insights into how we manage agreements, how we manage those clients, the time we spend on those clients. And we have a very clear reporting structure and a very clear engagement structure that sits inside that CRM and outside it. and we have a reporting tool that helps us with the rest.
So basically, just kind of wrap this up. You have a CRM to manage like internally the relationship, take all the notes and all sorts of stuff. You have an opportunity management within the CRM, so you see how big is the different opportunities as a sales related
pipeline management piece,
business relationship. You see the activity management, so you're able to see what type of activities should be done with each client. Like that's what you created on the structure. I think it was like the second section, the structure and the different deliverables. Then you have a OneNote, which you are using as a meeting management and the note taking. And then basically you have a reporting where you are able to report back to them. So they see the report, the meeting, and your strategy piece, which is their experience. When they have a meeting, probably you send something prior, we have a meeting agenda to go through and follow up. So basically that's not wishy-washy, hey, let's have a handshake, have a coffee kind of conversation. That's actually, it's really, really interesting because this is not rocket science, just to make this more visible and more engaging as a process, way more mature, right?
It took time. And this is the challenge that most businesses, when they come to this and go, but I don't have time. And you're 100% right. You won't have time unless you make the time. The outputs of these systems and the outputs of the reporting have enabled me to be even more efficient than I was before I didn't have time. So my ability to look into and report on the meetings that we haven't had all comes out of one single dashboarding tool. The ability for us to control our quarterly business reviews and deliver those quarterly business reviews, deliver the annual planning. It's all inside singular systems that guide that process from start to finish.
Aaron, because what I'm just going through in my mind with this process, and actually, you're right. You cannot do that many little pieces without digital systems. So if you are not having a digital system, you actually can't take those notes. You can't have the strategy. You can't manage this quality of relationship without. So like digital transformation give you not like I love it. It's not like a big bang approach. It's not like something going dramatically change. The little things are going to be consistent, and that's enough to get the client experience to the next level. So it's really awesome because you don't need to figure out this like whole rocket, ship thing. It's just something, make things consistent, good quality, and that's give so much more experience. That's really good.
It wasn't an instant win for us though, mate. And that's the big part for me is, and I keep, whenever I talk about big tasks, the question I simply ask is, how do you eat an elephant?
Yeah.
And the short answer is in small bites. Because what you're being presented with here in terms of these systems, these structures, I didn't do it overnight. It took us a couple of years to get all of these things into play. But we started somewhere. We started with structured meetings. And then we added in reporting. And then we added in the system that then enabled the quarterly business reviews to be a guided process instead of a OneNote process. And then we added the annual planning, which became a guided process, not a OneNote process. And they all have outputs to them that can be delivered to the client in a professional and consistent manner.
Aaron, we get to the last step here, or the last thing, which is basically champion management. So how to make sure that actually the company owns the relationship and not the account manager. And let me share my little story here. Like I was leading a $10 million operation, and that was part of sales. I was always afraid that we have these Excel sheets, the guy run away, go to the competition, knows everything, and take the clients. We were like, I was leading to a wholesale operation, and it was always a problem, right? Always I'm not sure how to track that, whether like But what you are saying here is that creating the different lines between the different uh, um, seniority levels within the organization, and make sure that the company is related to the company, not just the people. So can you share me how actually you do that? Because that's something which I think if you just listen that part of the conversation, that would be giving a lot of value back.
Part of our quarterly business review process is actually surveying the organizations at different levels.
Okay.
So we have a ticket survey that goes out every time a ticket finishes, and that covers end users. So we understand when end users are happy, not so happy, or upset in terms of how we handled those. Very tactical. That's a tactical engagement piece. We then have a survey that goes out in that quarterly business review process out to the general users about the actual service that we provide and their gut feel on that we go through every quarter with the key stakeholders. The next level above that is at executive level. And that executive level survey talks to the executive level people inside those organizations around their feeling around the systems, the uptime, the profitability of their business, the things that are actually going to tie into them being able to deliver their services. And the final thing we survey is actually an internal one where we survey ourselves on them. And so we come at them and go, we think you are a good partner to us or not. We come at them going, we have good executive engagement with you or not. You give us good budgeting information or not. And so we provide budgets to our clients and we expect in return that they'll come back to us with a more closed, this is what got approved, this is where we can work, and we work with them to make sure that we work inside that wherever possible, or we've got better clarity. Accounts, and whether accounts are delinquent or not, we engage with them from you pay your bills well or you don't. This is an area for improvement, and we make sure that we score them on the return. And so for us, the ability to do that as a start point piece is the baseline. And then beyond that, we have a gauge that tells me when one of the executive team members inside our organization has gone and spoken to an executive team member in that organization. And that part is very different to your day-to-day contact. So you might have, for example, a CFO who might be your day-to-day contact, or an IT manager who might be in a day-to-day, or HR manager, or whatever role it is that your business engages with. They might well be a line manager. But at that point in time, if that line manager changes, you start fresh. If your AM changes, you start fresh. Whereas the fact that we've got our service manager, sales and marketing manager, administration manager, managing director, all engaging with different levels and different contacts inside that organization that are beyond the day-to-day contact means that if my AM or the primary contact leaves, the relationship's still held at a company level.
It's really interesting because what you're advocating is that actually the different type of you are gauging where you have lack of engagement, and your high level manager or CEO or owner can actually interact with a specific client who has that size. Yep. But it's effective because he doesn't have to talk to anybody or everybody. It's just like who is at risk with that type of thing. And before actually it's really good. And again, what I have to say is like the technology here is just an enabler to have those surveys out, have those meetings. It's just like really simple office kind of tools apply that you are actually focusing on that one. It's really interesting, Aaron. You are hiring account managers and right, but there is no bachelor degree on account management. There is no education on account management. There is no master's degree or whatever it is. It's just project managers become account managers, sales people become account, but it's so vague. And how you gone through it really makes sense. Is that how you structure that, how you create different layers, and it's perfect. So Aaron, before we go, can you just kind of go through again, or like what is the problem here really, how you feel, or what was your frustration before you fix this problem, and what would be your message to somebody who is just starting this whole thing, just really in a nutshell, because I think it is a lot to digest, honestly.
There's two key points for me here. Number one is make sure that you have a relationship beyond just the account manager in that organization, that the defense of your organization and your revenue and your customers comes from having more than just a single touch point. Find a way to achieve that. The second part to there is systems will enable you to do that. And we have a single gauge that tells us when the last time we had an activity that closed off. We have exec engagement activity, tells us when the last time one of those was closed. And it flags every 90 days, it goes orange and we need to go and talk to them if we haven't done anything in the meantime. It just gives us a trigger to go and engage. The second part along those lines is get and understand what systems are going to add that and close that loop faster for you. And I would suggest that if you did nothing else, find a way to set up annual planning and find a way to get a quarterly business review rhythm for your organization and how it works with its clients. Because if you can get a flavor of that in place, that's appropriate for the client. So our smaller clients don't want to see us every quarter. They don't need to. But us being able to sit down with them and have an annual planning, this is what we're looking at doing over the next 12 months, that aligns with their budgeting process, enables them to know where they should be and could be focusing their attention, and also gives us a clear path to walk with them. It doesn't have to be every single quarter, but it does have to be right for the engagement with your client. And if you can find a system that will enable you to do that, I'm saying a system or two, not 42, get clear on what's going to add the most value, because the more systems you start confusing things. But find a couple of systems that will do that for you, and you'll be far further ahead of where you are right now.
Aaron, thank you very much. That was really insightful. And, guys like digital advisors like Aaron and the others are helping people to be able to get this digital transformation make easy. It's so much stuff can go wrong. Just imagine that particular thing. You need to be able to select applications, implement applications, create reports, use different platforms to engage your clients and prospects. You need teamwork within. You need some sort of access control, security. Like, holy smokes, that's a lot of stuff going on here. And what's the problem is that the CEO, the head of sales, the head of account manager can't have directly connected to IT people to solve those, because the IT people is going to ask a question, okay, how to set up the permission. Okay, that's good for that little silo, but something is missing between the business and IT to make those happen. And that's basically how to make digital transformation happen, because so many little pieces have to be in place to get success. So with the advisors, we as a group created a benchmark. You guys can go into complete that. It gives you a score, and basically it gives you really good insights where you need to invest more, or where you need to use your current systems and actually get this whole digital transformation going through. So any other stuff you would like to share, Aaron, today?
The only other piece that I'm going to offer has a lot to do with your business, and that is make sure you hire for culture, because the account managers who represent you need to be aligned with the business that you want to create, not their capability level. Highly capable people who are a horrible fit for a business, and that is the first and foremost thing. If you're not hiring for the fit to your culture, you're almost setting yourself up for failure there. And the only other piece that I'd offer is make sure you spend enough time, probably more than you think you need to, with onboarding that person. Because the more time you spend onboarding them, the more they learn how to tell your story in their way, but they will learn your story and what makes you unique as an organization.
That's interesting, because you are describing like an individual who is really like tech savvy, can use systems, structures, system thinking, but outgoing enough that they can get engaged with an individual. So it's really interesting that you can find those people, right? The question is like how you are going to help them to create the environment where they can thrive. Because other than that, they're gonna leave you. Superstars, A players, going to run away if they don't have the expectation, the structure. They can't have the systems in place. Aaron, really thank you very much. That was really insightful for today. I think you gave us a really great structure, and I know that you are working on a kind of checklist PDF to put these together so people can kind of follow these ideas. So I'm really excited that it's coming. So again, Aaron, thank you very much, and thanks for listening.
Thanks, mate.